From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Use the code BASH10 for 10% off your order. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. By the offices of Dr. Anthony Ippolito at Chiropractic Care Plus, located at 1 John Street in Babylon. Chiropractic Care Plus is the only choice when searching for Long Island chiropractors. Give Dr. Ippolito a call at 631-669-6221. By Bearcat Billing Service, your trusted partner in medical billing. Experience the Bearcat way, personal, professional, and tailored to your needs. Give Gary a call at 516-796-2400 and tell him Sports Bash sent you. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. The third annual Evening of Thanks Gala is coming up on November 14th at the Bourne Mansion in Oakdale. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. Well, hi again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome back to another edition of Sports Bash here from Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. 516-465-3990 is the number to call here on the program. Make sure you're subscribing to Gov's Comedy Club podcast on YouTube so you can comment along the way on the show and also get alerts as to when there are new shows, not just new editions of Sports Bash, but all the other great shows that you can catch right here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. Coming up on the show, really excited to be joined by not only a coworker of mine at another place, but also a dear friend, legendary WFAN host Joe Beningo is going to join me, and I'm sure number one on his mind, well, I don't know. It's 1 and 1A, 1A and 1B. What's he want to talk about first? Does he want to talk about the disaster that is the New York Jets? Or does he want to talk about a reflection on what was an amazing season for the Mets that ended in the NLCS? I'm going to give him, usually a show host will dictate what the topics of conversation are going to be. But I'm going to give Joe the option when he joins us via Zoom in a little bit. I'm going to give him the option of what he wants to talk about first, the Mets or the Jets, and we'll see which way he goes. So we'll talk to Joe in about 15 minutes or so. We're also going to be joined a little bit later on in the show, a conversation I had yesterday after Islanders practice with Islanders forward Matt Barzal. Of course, if you're a big Islanders fan, you follow the team, you know that Anthony Duclair suffered a serious right leg injury in Saturday night's win over Montreal, and that's going to be a long-term injury. Not a season-ending, according to Lou Lamoriello yesterday, but a season-ending, not a non-season-ending injury long-term. So Simon Holmstrom is going to take Duclair's spot on the top line, and we'll talk to Matt Barzal about that. They skated at practice yesterday and again this morning. So a brief interview I did yesterday with Matt Barzal after Islanders practice. Also, as we get ready for the World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers, if you want to go to any of these games, whether it's in LA or at Yankee Stadium, I would suggest right now, go to your bank, get another mortgage out on your house, try to get a loan, because if you want to get into any of these World Series games, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And we have just the guy to talk about that with us. Vinny Tickets, the CEO of TicketBash.com, is going to have his regular spot with us at around 1:40, and we'll find out where the market is right now. And from what I saw this morning, for all 7 potential games, the get-in-the-door price for any of those games starts with a 1, and it's not 100. So I don't even know how to put that into any kind of context, because even if I could afford that amount of money for tickets, and this is not a knock on Vinny or Ticket Bash. I mean, it's not, they're not the ones who are setting the bar on this. These are like face value ticket prices that are through, Ticketmaster or through the Yankees. Like, these ticket prices are insane. So you can't knock the ticket brokers, and you can't knock the secondary market. I mean, they now have to turn around, and it's a business. So I mean, if the get in the door price for a Yankee home game in the World Series for a standing room seat is over $1,000, what do you think that ticket's going to be on the secondary market? You got to be very well-to-do to be able to go to any of these World Series. It's amazing. Even the Met prices in the first two rounds against the Phillies and then against the Dodgers, those were outrageous also. But people are paying them. Can't get a ticket, sold out. So God bless the people that are able to go to these games, because, and I've always feared this. I have always feared the day where the average fan is going to be priced out. And when people will mock, oh, you went to see the Long Island Ducks? Why did you go see the Long Island Ducks? It's minor league baseball. You going to go see the Brooklyn Cyclones? You going to go see Hofstra basketball? Well, because I don't have to take out a second mortgage to be able to go to any of those games. I mean, even in a brand new arena, at least you can get into an Islanders game for $20. And if you go on the secondary market, some games, you can get, I've seen tickets already for this season. Some games are $10 or $15. I mean, that's, granted, you're sitting up top, which is not so bad anyway, but a great sports fan should not have to mortgage his house or her house to go see an event. And people have been asking me since Saturday night, are you going to see a Yankee game in the World Series? I said, no, I'd rather put food on the table. I'd rather make sure my mortgage is paid. I'd rather make sure the electric is on. I'd rather make sure that the cable is on. I'd rather make sure that there's gas in my car, both of our cars. And even if I was able to afford it, how do you enjoy? I could never enjoy it. Like if I had all the money in the world, and I paid $1,000 to go to a Yankee World Series game, and this may sound nuts, I'm a huge Yankee fan. I don't know if I'd be able to enjoy it. That's $1,000 to stand. And nothing against standing. I mean, I listen, if that was the only way in, and you're telling me it was $100 or something like that, and a chance to go to a Yankee World Series game, you know what? For $100, let's do it. Let's do it. Right now. I'll be there on Monday night. $1,000 to stand at a World Series game? I can stay home, watch it on the big screen TV. No lines for the bathroom. Would I love to be at a game? Sure. For $1,000? I don't know. We'll talk to Vinny. We'll find out what the latest is on that, and if he thinks maybe if you want to wait till, sometimes, the market will dictate lower prices if the demand is not there. So if you get to Monday for Game 3 at Yankee Stadium, we'll talk to Vinny about this. If you're willing to go, maybe $700 or $800, maybe the price drops. If you're willing to be patient and wait till first pitch on Monday. So we'll see what happens with that. So we'll check in with Vinny. We'll have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day as well. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage, right down the block here on Hempstead Turnpike. Outstanding food. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. In about 10 minutes, we'll be joined by legendary WFAN host Joe Beningo. And again, that number to call here on the program, and I have to get used to the new numbers, so I'm flipping through the pages, 516-465-3990, 516-465-3990. I remember the whole tumult at WFAN a few months ago when they started the new phone number. and they put these white pieces of paper all over the studio at FAN, Tony.
Yeah.
and literally you couldn't miss it. They put the pieces of paper. So I'm going to have to do something until I get the phone number down, Pat. Is it posted?
On the screen. Everybody can see it.
Everyone can see it on the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
But my blind eyes can't see it. So I'm going to have like a piece of paper in front of me with the number in front. And again, that phone number to call is 516. No, that's the wrong number. Hold on one second.
Yeah,
516. No, I was looking at a sponsor's number. 516-509. No, that's the number. 516-465-3990. 516-465-3990. That is the number to call. So obviously we're getting ready for a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. And not that Met fans will care to hear this, but this is the World Series matchup, I think, that most of baseball wanted to see. And that's not going to make the other three people I live with very happy to hear, but there's no question if you were people in the front office of Major League Baseball, if you were executives at Fox, and once the Yankees and the Dodgers got to the Final Four, and if you said, what is the matchup that is going to attract the most eyeballs? And as we just mentioned before, what is the matchup that is going to be the impetus for a hot ticket item? And what we're seeing now with $1,000 get in the door for all 7 games. Major League Baseball and Fox got exactly what they wanted. Yankees and Dodgers once again in the World Series. First time they have played against each other since 1981. And that was a series where the Yankees won games 1 and 2 at Yankee Stadium. The Dodgers then won the next 4, kind of erasing what the Yankees did to them in 1978. But obviously the Yankee-Dodger World Series rivalry dates all the way back to many, many years ago. And now you're going to have Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, the two faces of baseball right now. You can make the argument. I mean, there's others. But right now, when you consider the faces of Major League Baseball, you're probably talking about Aaron Judge. I don't know why I said that. Tony's going to fall off his chair. You talk about, something that gave me agita the other night. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani squaring off in the World Series. And from a Yankees point of view, this is the objective. This is the mission statement for the Yankees every year. George Steinbrenner laid this down many, many years ago. The mission statement is to get to the World Series and win it. It's not a successful season if you don't get there. And to a certain extent, it's, in some people's minds, it's not a success unless you win it. And now the Yankees are there. Now, did they have an easy road? Yeah, they had an easy road. Everything broke the Yankees' way. While they were waiting for the wild card round to finish out, they got 2 unbelievable breaks with the Astros and the Orioles both losing in the wild card. Not a bigger Yankee fan on the planet than me. Yankees got 2 huge breaks there. No question about it. Yankees have stumbled in the postseason time and time again against the Astros, and over the last 2 years, they have had all kinds of trouble beating the Orioles in the regular season. So there's no question, and I don't know if the Yankees will ever admit it, but there's no question that they breathed a huge sigh of relief that those 2 teams were out in the wild card round. Now, Yankees find themselves against the Royals in the division series, and they take care of business in 4 games. And now they play the Indians. A good team, but the Yankees take care of business in 5. It should have been in 4. Yankees let Game 3 slip away, but they take care of business, and now it's on to the Dodgers. And it's a tough matchup, but when you consider the Dodgers are probably going to have to throw a couple of bullpen games in there again, and the Yankees' bullpen has shaped up with the exception of the blip in Game 3 against the Guardians. Luke Weaver established now as the closer, and the Yankees have depth in the bullpen. And you're going to have Garrett Cole starting Game 1, and Aaron Judge has been unlocked, and Giancarlo Stanton coming off an ALCS MVP performance. I mean, this is a Yankee team that's ready to break the drought that goes back to 2009. They haven't been in the World Series since 2009, and obviously haven't won one. So the road to winning a world championship has been cleared for the Yankees. Now, again, it's not an easy opponent, and they have to go to LA to start off, but I think the Yankees have a really good shot here. Now, I have not had, if you've heard me here, if you heard me on the old edition of Sports Bash, if you've heard me on WFAN, and I've talked to Joe Beningo about this, and I'll bring it up again, you know my opinion. I have not had a warm and fuzzy feeling about this Yankee team most of the season. To me, there's been something a little off. They went on that drought. They've had problems at times with their pitching. They can go sometimes, it seems like, days without scoring runs. It seems like that has not ended, but they've kind of rectified it at times here in the playoffs. And at this moment, the Yankees are feeling just about as good as anybody could feel about a team going into a World Series. And obviously, like, when you think about the history of the Yankees and all the great moments that they've had, and I'm not going to bring up other past ones because there's too many. I'd sit here for an hour just on Yankee moments. But Saturday night, that Juan Soto at-bat. And people are calling it one of the greatest at-bats in postseason history, maybe even in Yankees history too, obviously. The fact that he fouled off those pitches and then winds up hitting the home run. I mean, talk about writing. If you fans are getting ready to write that check out for World Series tickets, how many extra zeros do you think Hal Steinbrenner is going to have to come up with now? Because you know the owner across town, Steve Cohen, he's getting that checkbook ready to go. And people say, well, where's Juan Soto going to go? He's going to go to the team that gives him the most money. I don't think we're getting a Jalen Brunson hometown discount from Juan Soto. He's going to go to the team that gives him the most money. And if Hal is serious, and I said this on the old show over and over again, get the checkbook out. I don't think Aaron Judge is going to have a problem being number 2 in terms of contract on the team. And I don't think Garrett Cole's going to have a problem with that. Juan Soto's 25 years old. He's a generational player. You have a chance now, whether you win the World Series or not, to lock this guy up and have him part of a core that can compete for multiple championships down the road. So we got that going for the Yankees into the playoffs. And I want to, before we take a break and welcome in Joe Beningo, I just want to bring up something personal. And I'm going to get to the Liberty, Tony, in a little bit later on. I know I wanted to talk about the Liberty. I'm going to talk about that later in the show, and we'll get to that photo that I sent you in a little bit. But I just want this Yankee note because I am very sentimental. Like, I'm 6'4" and pounds, but I have, people will say that there's a gentle giant and a teddy bear inside of me. Saturday, we are driving home from Connecticut, where my son Bradley plays and goes to college, plays football for Western Connecticut State, and they won again. They're 5-1. They won 49-7 on Saturday. Wow. So all smiles and everything. Go out to eat, watch a little bit of the Yankee game in a restaurant, and now we're driving home, and I'm listening to the Yankee game in the car. My younger son Jared fell asleep. My wife fell asleep at times. And I'm listening to the Yankee game intently on the way home. We get to the Bronx, and I'm following. Now, I know how to get home at that point. There's 8 million different ways of going home. I got the Waze on my phone telling me, like, it's going to tell you, I get off at this exit, get back on, so you can avoid this traffic jam, that traffic jam. We're in the Bronx. I think we're on the Hutch. And it says, get off at Pelham Parkway. And my father, may he rest in peace, grew up in the Bronx, Pelham Parkway. He's the reason I'm a Yankee fan. I was an idiot not listening to him about the Giants. I betrayed him. I became a Jet fan. It was actually his fault. He took me to a Jet game. It was my first game. I think I told this story on Tony's show a couple of weeks ago. But I'm a Yankee fan because of my father. So the game is 2-2. It's in the bottom of the ninth inning. And the Waze tells me to get off at Yankees at Pelham Parkway. So I get off and I start to think, there's something here. And I look up briefly into the sky because I am driving the car. And I said, Dad, we got to get this done now. Yankees get out of the bottom of the ninth. I get across the Throgs Neck Bridge. And lo and behold, Juan Soto hits a 3-run homer. And listen, you can believe in that kind of stuff or not. Sometimes I do believe in it. I believed in it on Saturday night. And I think there was a little magic that my father had to get that ball over the fence that Juan Soto hit. So very excited that the Yankees are in the World Series. I don't expect too many Met fans to be as excited about it as I am or as other Yankee fans. But let's see. Maybe there's some Met fans that just hate the Dodgers and want to root for the Yankees in the World Series. I don't know. We'll see. All right, when we come back on the program, going to be joined by a legend in broadcasting and a friend of mine. We're going to welcome in Joe Beningo from WFAN. He's going to come on with us, and he's going to talk about the Jets and the Mets and whatever else is going on in the world of sports. It's Sports Bash, coming right back after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
At Chiropractic Care Plus, Dr. Anthony Ippolito has been helping Long Islanders recover from pain and injuries since 1993. Whether from auto accidents, work injuries, or everyday aches, they use proven methods to get you back to your best. Chiropractic Care Plus is located at 1 John Street, Suite 150 in Babylon, New York. Call 631-669-6221 to schedule your appointment today.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
At Chiropractic Care Plus, Dr. Anthony Ippolito has been helping Long Islanders recover from pain and injuries since 1993. Whether from auto accidents, work injuries, or everyday aches, they use proven methods to get you back to your best. Chiropractic Care Plus is located at 1 John Street, Suite 150 in Babylon, New York. Call 631-669-6221 to schedule your appointment today.
Hi. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. Oh, Billy Joel welcoming us back to the program, 516-465-3990. And I think I mentioned this on the show last week. By the way, Vinny Tickets will not be joining us on the show. We got tied up in a little business, and we'll try to have him on Thursday. And we're still trying to connect with Joe Beningo. So we'll hopefully have Joe on in just a couple of moments. But 516-465-3990 is the number to call to join the program. But I think I talked about this Billy Joel thing last week. And again, if you don't already know by now, you know I like to talk about more than just sports on these shows. I like to talk about family. I like to talk about a little pop culture here and there, but I love to talk about music, especially Billy Joel. And I know he just put tickets on sale for Toronto. He's going to play in that, I think they call it the Rogers Center now still. And it used to be the Sky Dome, but he's going to play in Toronto. I know he's got a concert coming up in Syracuse in the Dome. And of course, he's got New Year's Eve at UBS Arena coming up again as well. So the residency is over at Madison Square Garden, but he's not done touring, and he's still going to play shows. And He's going to do UBS Arena. He's also, I know he has not ruled out doing Madison Square Garden again, but it will not be a monthly residency anymore, obviously. And there's been some rumors, and a few months ago when I had Art Stapleton from NJ.com, who covers the Giants, we had him on the old show, and he heard some rumblings next summer that Billy could be playing MetLife Stadium. I can only imagine what the traffic jam is going to be for that, because if it's anything like leaving a Jet game, we know that that's just brutal. But I think I might suck it up for Billy Joel at MetLife Stadium. So always likes to come back to Billy Joel music, My Life there. And I'll mix it up throughout the course of the different shows and everything. And Tony's a huge music fan too, so maybe, like I said, it's not a dictatorship on this show. It is a democracy. So perhaps we can make Joe Cocker. I knew that would make him crack. Cher?
Oh.
If you watch Tony's show before mine, you know that there was a little debate on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about whether Cher should go in, and Joe Cocker, Steve Winwood is another one. So that's a story for another time, and we'll get a musical guest on the show at some point, and we'll talk about that. I love the whole debate and discussion about Hall of Fames, whether it's sports or music or whatever, and we can get to it down the road. While we still wait for Joe Beningo to call in, and hopefully he does. Hopefully he does. We definitely would like to still get your thoughts on the World Series, Yankees and the Dodgers, 516-465-3990. We're going to talk more about the World Series and the matchups. We'll have some guests on Thursday on the show. But I've switched a little bit, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not. As I've said, I've not had a warm and fuzzy feeling about the Yankees all season long. They still have holes, but I've thought they've had holes for a lot of this season. But there is something about the way that this team has evolved through the playoffs and the big hits that they've gotten from a bunch of different people, including the big three of Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton, that I think if you're a Yankee fan now, you have to feel good about this team going into this World Series. Now, I've got a few days off. Both teams do. Yankees were done Saturday. The Dodgers done on Sunday against the Mets. So both teams will have the week to line up their respective rotations and get things going. We'll see if either team makes any roster changes going into the World Series. But I think from the Yankees' point of view, I think you have to feel pretty good. I feel better. And I'm worried sometimes when I feel too good about my teams. Sometimes it doesn't always work out well. Memo Jets. So I've kind of learned in my old age that don't touch the money. Don't feel too good. There's always could possibly be a problem. But listen, the Yankees owe me nothing in my life. God knows they owe me nothing from the time I was a kid to 2009. They don't owe me anything. I have teams that I have receipts on that do owe me things. Former employers too that I have receipts on also. But I think you have to feel good about the Yankees going into the World Series. I mean, they got everything you can possibly ask for. They've got good starting pitching, and Rodon pitched well in his last outing, and Cole is Cole, and the bullpen is phenomenal. Clark Schmidt has given them a couple of good outings, so I feel good about the Yankees going into the World Series. And I know somebody brought it up to me today. Oh, it's my son Bradley called me, and he's a Mets fan, and he said, "You going to go to the parade?" I said, "What parade? The Liberty Parade on Thursday?" And he goes, No, the Yankee parade. I'm like, well, the Yankees don't have a parade yet. He goes, "They're going to win." Because I want them to win. I hate the Dodgers now because they beat the Mets. I'm like, all right, whatever. Now, if the Yankees do win, they have a World Series parade, maybe I'll go. I've been to one before. I covered the 1998 World Series parade First and probably only time I'll ever do this. Because it becomes a long day when you if you go to watch the parade as a fan. I mean, you got to schlep into Manhattan, lower Manhattan, so early in the morning to get a good spot. But even to cover, and I had to go to the city the night before to pick up my credential at City Hall, and then get up early that next morning and get down to lower Manhattan to get on the media float. And that was, you talk about an out-of-body experience. I'm on a media float, the back of a truck, in the parade.
That's wild.
In the parade. I have a picture of me on the, I'll get it for another time, for another show. Maybe I'll bring it in on Thursday. We'll have it for Thursday, unless I can find it on my phone during the next break. But we're in the parade. We're going up the Canyon of Heroes. You got the Yankee floats and everything like that. And this is freaking cool. Like, it doesn't matter like what team it would be. If you were a fan of a team and now you're covering their parade, you're not just lined up on the street of lower Manhattan. You're actually on what amounts to be a float, but it's not really a float. It's just the back of a truck. And I remember just like looking around. The confetti is coming down. And all these people are cheering. And probably some of them saying, who the hell is that guy on the back of that truck? It's not one of the Yankees. Where are the Yankees? They were on the float in front of us and the float behind us. And then there was the point where I said, maybe I'm not going to do this again. I got hit in the head with a bottle. Plastic bottle. Luckily a plastic bottle. Didn't do any damage. But I'm thinking to myself now at that point, I've done this. I lived to talk about it, then went to the rally at City Hall afterward. Like, you know what? That's like one of those, you go to Times Square on New Year's Eve, you do it once. I've never done that before, by the way. But it's like one of those things I think you do once. And I live to tell about it. It was an out-of-body experience. And maybe I would go again, but I would not go I don't cover the team anymore, so I wouldn't go on a media float. But I think I would probably try to go to the parade. I think I would try to go. Now, if it's a Tuesday or a Thursday, we may have to rework the Sports Bash schedule. We'll have to see. But I'm feeling really, really good about the Yankees. I really am. I think last week I was like, even if the Yankees make it to the World Series, they'll lose to the Dodgers. And I'll be honest with you. And again, I live with 3 Met fans. Well, one's off in college, but I still technically a resident of the house. I was, and I'm going to admit this now, and Tony is a huge Mets fan. I was petrified about playing the Mets. I was petrified in 2000, and I was even more, but I wasn't with my wife in 2000, so that if we were, it could have been a big problem. But I was terrified of playing the Mets in the World Series.
In 2000?
Well, more so now. But I was in 2000, yes. Because it was, all joking aside, Tony, it was of the Yankee World Series that they have won in my life. It was the one World Series I couldn't even enjoy it.
Really?
I couldn't even enjoy it because there was so much pressure on winning that World Series. Think about it. They're the Yankees, right? Listen, again, this is not a knock on the Mets, but the Mets were not expected to win. That was the dynasty Yankee team that. Could you imagine if they had lost that series?
Well,
could you imagine how angry George Steinbrenner would have been if they had lost that World Series? And I went to games 1 and 2. I had tickets for games 1 and 2. I did not have tickets for the games at Shea. And I was petrified. But I came home to an empty apartment. After anything, after work, after the games, I came home to an empty apartment. Like now, like if it was Yankees, I would, my stomach would be in knots. And it was bad enough during the season getting the crap from my family after the Mets won all 4 games during the regular season.
Yeah.
I could not imagine what the pressure would have been like for the Yankees, the organization, fans like myself. It just would have been just god awful.
I don't know. Yeah, in 2000, I think everybody expected the Yankees, but this year, I think
But
the
game,
Mets.
but the games were close in 2000. Even
Well,
like
true.
The first game the Yankees won in extra innings. That was the game where who hit the ball to the top of the fence?
Oh, Todd Pratt.
Todd Pratt hit the ball to the top of the fence, and I'm trying to remember who the base runner was that wasn't hustling, that didn't score, and they played the ball in, and it kept the game tied, or maybe the Mets tied the game, and he could have taken the lead. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, and they wind up winning the game in extra innings. Then game 2, the Yankees have a big lead going to the 9th inning, and Mariano Rivera gives up a 3-run homer to Jay Payton,
Right.
and makes it 6-5 in the 9th inning, and the Yankees have to hold on. And the games at Shea were all close, as I remember. Luis Sojo got the big hit in Game 5.
Right.
Who was the Mets shortstop that played for the Orioles that the ball got under his glove?
Oh,
The ball took like
Manny something.
what was that? Because they didn't have their regular shortstop playing.
Was his name Tejada? Just like the guy in Oakland?
No. There was a guy who played for the Orioles, and he was the Mets shortstop in that
I
game.
can see his face.
That Luis Sojo ground ball must have taken 500 bounces, and the guy couldn't get to the ball. Met fans are still talking about it to this day, and it got through. Why do I think the guy's last name starts with an O? Tony's looking it up. The 2000 Mets National League Championship team. Who was that? Who was the shortstop? Now it's bothering me, and I can't remember who that was. But Luis Sojo's ground ball, I think it was in the 10th inning, that skipped 5,000 times.
Melvin Mora?
No, it's not. Was it Mike Bordick? Mike Bordick, that's
Mike
who it was.
Bordick.
Not an O. It was Mike Bordick. Now, Mike Bordick was playing shortstop, and that ball skipped 5 million times, and he couldn't get to the ball. And that's how the Yankees won. But you talk about a sigh of relief, and I don't know how I would have handled it. My house probably would have caught on fire if the Yankees and Mets played in the World Series. And I'm not joking. I'm not saying this for clicks. I am not saying this to be dramatic on a sports talk show. I am telling everybody, in all honesty, if the Yankees played the Mets in the World Series, I'd be petrified. Absolutely petrified. And not even petrified if the Islanders and Rangers played in the playoffs, because been there, done that. Islanders have beaten them numerous times in the playoffs. Like, I wouldn't have the same feeling. But to have the Yankees and the Mets in the World Series, I don't know how people lived through all of them in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when you had Yankees, Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers, Yankees, New York Giants, then San Francisco Giants. Like, that, to me, was a whole nother level of nervousness, because they did it so many times. But, whew.
That's pre-Steinbrenner. That's pre... I mean, they had rings, but they didn't have 27. So maybe the pressure wasn't as bad back then.
Well, I mean,
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I never really had a conversation like that with my father. I'd probably have to ask my father-in-law what that was like, back then, like the pressure on each team. Because he grew up a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, my father-in-law, and then became a Mets fan subsequently, which is why my wife is a Mets fan. But I'm telling you, I am... Not that I was rooting against the Mets, because I only root against the Mets when they're playing the Yankees. Because I don't have a bad bone in my blood. I grew up in Queens until we moved to Long Island. I probably have been to more Met games in my life than I've been Yankee games, just because of proximity and things like that, and covering games. And I've probably been to more Met games in my life than Yankee games. But I'm a diehard Yankees fan, and the only time I would ever root against the Mets is when they were playing the Yankees. But part of me, when the Mets lost on Sunday, was relieved. With all due respect to you, to my wife, to my kids, to my family and friends who are Met fans. It is nothing personal about that. To me, I would have been so petrified and so nuts. But in any event, 516-465-3990 is the number to call. 516-465-3990. I apologize about Joe Beningo. We're still trying to hook up with him. When we come back, have to take care of some more business. We're going to have my conversation with Islanders forward Matt Barzal, and I'm also going to talk about a championship team here in New York. And congratulations to a great group of young ladies who captured the imagination of a good chunk of the city of New York the other night by ending a very, very long drought. And we'll tell you about that when we come back with more Sports Bash right after this. I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
At Chiropractic Care Plus, Dr. Anthony Ippolito has been helping Long Islanders recover from pain and injuries since 1993. Whether from auto accidents, work injuries, or everyday aches, they use proven methods to get you back to your best. Chiropractic Care Plus is located at 1 John Street, Suite 150 in Babylon, New York. Call 631-669-6221 to schedule your appointment today.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, 516-465-3990. A little Eddie Money, 2 tickets to paradise. And there is a method to my madness sometimes with the musical choices to go into breaks and coming back. But we were supposed to talk to Vinny Tickets on the show about the market for the World Series tickets, and unfortunately he got pulled away for some business to take care of. After all, he's got tickets to sell, and he needs to sell those tickets because he needs to pay my salary too. So, and he's in, the show is presented by TicketBash.com, so he's got to be busy selling tickets. So, I apologize to people who were tuned in for that segment, but I can tell you right now, if you looked on all the secondary websites, and please make sure you go to TicketBash.com first, because you'll never pay a service fee, and you can use that code BASH10, BASH10, B-A-S-H, and the number 10, 10% off your order. And as we talked about with Vinny last week, you have the ticket price with no service charge added to it, and then you use that code, and you get 10% more off of it. So just do the math. If the ticket is $1,000, you're not going to spend another dime on service charges, but now you're going to get 10% off. So that $1,000 ticket, I don't know if Vinny really wants me to say this when it comes to $1,000 ticket. But basically, I mean, because I'm not really that good at math, I need it to be like easy, like round numbers. So if it's $1,000 and you're getting 10% off, you're getting in for $900. So whether Vinny approves for that or not, that's basically what it is. So code BASH10, 10% off. Vinny will join us on Thursday, and we'll get a better idea as the World Series approaches on Friday night. And again, we're going to preview the World Series a little more intently. We'll have a guest on Thursday to talk about the World Series. Stay tuned to social medias and find out who that's going to be. That'll come up on Thursday. And, of course, that's why I picked Eddie Money, 2 tickets to paradise, because it was supposed to be a ticket segment, and there it is. All 7 games right now get in the door price over $1,000. And I don't care whose money I'd be spending. I don't know if I can enjoy myself for $1,000 a ticket. I think I just sooner go to Dick's or DXL, get my Yankee World Series gear, sit in front of the TV. We'll order out some wings from Wingstop. Again, they're not a paid sponsor, but if they want to, we'd be more than happy to take their food or take their money. And, of course, the Embassy Diner, too. You mentioned Sports Bash. You get a free dessert with your meal. So maybe we could just order in from Embassy Diner. My wife puts together the absolute best Super Bowl spread. Every year we have a Super Bowl party in the house. She's got that great buffalo chicken dip. I wouldn't mind buffalo chicken dip for Game 1 of the World Series. That sounds like a plan, right? Yeah, so let's see what happens. She's watching, and she's going, oh, God, he's talking about food again on the show. But we'll see what happens. Tonight, I'm going to be at the Islanders-Red Wings game at UBS Arena. I'll tell you about an event I'm going to be at before that game after we hear from Matt Barzell. But the Islanders take on the Red Wings tonight at UBS Arena. And during the third period of Saturday's win over Montreal, the Islanders lost forward Anthony Duclair to a right leg injury that will sideline him long-term. Simon Holmstrom is likely to take Duclair's spot on the Isles' top line. Yesterday after practice, I spoke with Matt Barzell about that very subject. Obviously, a difficult situation with Anthony going down. What are your thoughts on that, and Simon moving up and getting a chance with you guys today in practice?
Yeah, I think it stinks that Duclair got hurt. Anytime a teammate goes down like that sucks. So we're hoping he can get better quick. And in terms of Homer, I think he's been playing good hockey. So I think he is. What's underrated about him is that he checks really well, so hopefully he can strip some pucks and we can kind of go the other way.
Stink even more that Anthony was off to such a great start with the team, and you guys had so much chemistry right from training camp through the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean he was playing really, really good hockey. He might have been our best forward, up until that injury. So it's really unfortunate.
You have some experience playing with Simon. What does he bring to the table now that he has a chance to move up and play on the top line?
Well, yeah, I think he's smart. He knows where to go, and he's got a good stick. So hopefully, we can, create some chances and bury.
Can you just give a little thumbnail on the season so far? Obviously, there's some points that have gotten away from you guys, but overall, what are your thoughts on the season so far?
Well, I mean, it definitely could be worse. But I think that, it's every game in this league is hard. So we just got to find a way to have that extra inch that just wins us hockey games, and that's really what it comes down to. We got to find a way to just win games and not go into a ninth round of shootout. End it in the third or in overtime. So I think we've played some good hockey, and I think we've played some okay hockey. So.
Do you get a sense that the power play is starting to come around? I mean, you've hit a couple of goal posts, and it looks like you guys are getting some chances. I think it would be a bad thing if you weren't getting chances, but does it look to you like things are starting to turn around on it?
Yeah, we're getting chances, and at the end of the day, that's important because at least we're creating momentum. So hopefully we can find a couple here in the next couple games.
And just your thoughts on the Red Wings and what kind of a game you expect with them on Tuesday.
I haven't seen a ton of them on TV, so I know they have a good lineup. They have good D, good forwards, so every game is a tough game. Obviously, it's difficult. Lots of thanks to Islanders forward Matt Barzell for joining me after practice yesterday. And kudos to Tony Walker for putting that together. It was hard to get somebody to shoot the video for me there yesterday, so it was an audio interview, and Tony did a great job with the photo and the graphics and everything like that. So thank you to Tony Walker. Speaking of the Islanders, two other things before I get to the Liberty, and I'm going to close the show talking about the Liberty. I'm going to an event today. I'm getting a tour, and we'll talk about it on the show a little bit on Thursday. And if you follow my Double Chili Islanders podcast and my WFAN.com Islanders content, you'll find it there as well, and also on my social media channels, which, by the way, on X Twitter is at Schwartz Sports, and on Instagram is at Peter Schwartz Sports. So you want to follow me on those platforms as well. The Islanders, of course, as many of you know, across the street from UBS Arena, they have soft opened the retail village, the Belmont Park Retail Village across the street. Some high-end stores, it looks like. Some restaurants are coming in. I'm getting a tour of it today. So I'm going to be there a little early at around 4 o'clock to get a tour of the facility and see some of the stores. And probably see some items that I'd never be able to afford in my life, probably at some of these stores. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, maybe we'll be surprised. Looking forward to it. Should be a nice afternoon getting a little tour around the place, and we'll talk about it on the show Thursday. And then the Islanders and the Red Wings tonight at UBS Arena, 7:45. And by the way, little birdie told me that Tony Walker was supposed to go to the game tonight, was offered tickets. And because he has to be here to produce Hershey and Keeg tonight, he is unable to go. And during the break, he was just so sad.
Hello.
You can yell at Mark right now. As a matter
Mark
of fact.
Hershey's on the phone with us right now?
He's on the phone.
So my sources, Hirsch, by the way, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Great production job by Tony Walker, and the show sounds really great.
Don't
Peter.
kiss his
Wonderful.
ass too much because he's angry at you.
You know, Tone, I just heard Peter say that you're not able to go to the game tonight because of me, and that
Yeah. So
doesn't
I
make me
didn't
feel bad at
exactly
all.
finish the story. He said he was offered 2 tickets to the game by somebody, and he had to turn it down because he has to be here to do your show tonight, and that's why he's a little angry.
Well, he can't be angry because he knows that we have a very, very big show scheduled tonight, and he's gonna have fun being part of it. So I don't think Tony's ever really angry at me, to be honest with you.
You're going to have to come up, or we're going to have to figure out a way to get Tony to an Islanders game to make up for tonight.
We actually went to a couple of games last year, and Tony is a wonderful person to go to the Islander games with, so we can all go together. That would be fantastic.
Is he usually this nice to you, Tony? Is he usually this nice to you?
I'm not positive this is Mark Hirschman on the phone.
Yeah.
Hershey, really quick, because I have a couple of things to get to before the end of the show.
Yeah.
What's how you feeling about the World Series?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited. I think that I didn't expect this team to get here. I've been a Cashman basher for a long time and a naysayer, and certainly I'm really happy that we did not have to go through the Astros. I'll say that much. I don't know if we would have beat them just based on history, but it doesn't matter because we did. We didn't have to face them, and we're here, and I think we have a decent chance. I was going to throw a really quick Nick opinion at you, and then I was going to hang up and I wanted to hear what your thoughts were because we haven't talked about this, you and I. Tell me if you think that I am being off base, that I am having apprehension about this season. Of course, I'm excited, but I think it's important for Knicks fans to realize that we are going into this season this year minus Hartenstein, minus Julius Randle, minus DiVincenzo, and for the next 3 months, minus Mitchell Robinson.
Yep.
I'm concerned about the chemistry, and I have my apprehension. I want to hear what you have to say. I will talk to you soon.
You got
Thanks
it.
for the opportunity today, boys.
You got it, my friend. That's Hershey. And make sure you watch tonight. What, 9 o'clock? 8 o'clock?
Hershey and the Keys at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock tonight right here on Governor's Comedy Club podcast. So that's always a fun show to listen to and watch. I agree with a lot of what he said about apprehension about the Knicks. I still think they needed to get another star on the team, and they did that with Karl Anthony Towns. And it's unbelievable that he brought that up because it's time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we post a new poll question every weekday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. And the question today, the Knicks open up their season tonight. How will they do this season? And the choices are NBA champions, Eastern Conference champions, Eastern Conference Finals, first or second round exit. My choice, and this answers Hershey's question, is I think the Knicks are going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose there to Boston. That's what I think is going to wind up happening. So another step for the Knicks this year, but I just don't know if they have quite enough to get over the hump to beat the Celtics. And maybe I'm wrong. So we'll see what happens. But that's the question. Back to the Islanders for just a second. Today is the 75th birthday of one of my all-time favorite athletes and a player who was brought in at the trading deadline in 1980. And he was always known as the final piece of the puzzle. Former Islanders great and current MSG analyst for the Islanders, Butch Goring, turned 75 today. Happy birthday to Butch. And there's a picture of me last season interviewing Butch Goring outside of UBS Arena. And that video is a screenshot of a video. The photo is a screenshot off of a video of me interviewing him for my podcast. And I took that screenshot, and I look at it all the time, and I'm looking over at the monitor right now, looking up at the monitor. And you look at my face, you know, Butch is like the happiest guy on the planet. Like, I love seeing him at games and everything like that. And those were my guys. Those Islander teams in the early 80s, I mean, those were my guys. And now you see the smile on my face. Like that, I'm 57 years old. But, like, I'm still a child. So, like, if you told 13-year-old Peter at the Stanley Cup parade and the subsequent years also as 14, 15, and 16 years old, if you know all these years later that I'd be standing in front of the Islanders' brand new arena talking to Butch Goring like that, one-on-one, and I see him all the time at the games and at practices, I mean, that's what dreams are made of. I mean, that's just unbelievably cool. I do want to mention on Thursday's show, it's Stump the Wiz, so get your questions in to the Sports Bash Trivia, Sports Bash Media, Instagram, Facebook, and X. If we pick your question and you stump the Wiz on Thursday, you'll win 2 tickets to see the Islanders and the Ducks at UBS Arena October 29th. Also on the show on Thursday, we're going to talk to Stony Brook head football coach Billy Kosh, and we are expected to join and talk about the World Series with Jimmy O'Brien from John Boy Media. That's coming up on Thursday's show. I want to close today with a New York success story. The New York Liberty 28 years ago were born, as was the WNBA in general. And the Liberty were one of the first teams. They were part of that first group of teams in the league. But they had never won a WNBA championship until the other night when they finally outlasted Minnesota in overtime of Game 5. And to put in perspective what it takes to build a winning sports franchise. And I've said this before on this show, the old version of this show and other platforms, and this comes from the pain of being a Jets fan. It starts at the top. When you want to have a successful sports franchise, it starts at the freaking top. If you don't have an owner that's committed to winning, and I know it's a business, and I know you have to try and win games and make money and sell tickets, but the fans want to win, and you need an owner that wants to win as well. And I just don't think Woody Johnson has a clue of how that works right now. And I'm glad we didn't talk much about the Jets because the Jets make me kind of angry right about now. But when you look at what the New York Liberty have built, back from the early years at Madison Square Garden to getting banished by the Garden to the Westchester County Center and playing in front of a couple thousand people, to now winning the WNBA championship on Sunday night in front of 18,000 people at Barclays Center. That is remarkable, and congratulations to the Tsai family. They bought the team from the Garden, and they built the fan base in Brooklyn. I've been to a couple of games this year, and it's a great atmosphere. And I want to show everyone, and I got to go back in my notes because I wrote down the date. So back in June of 2014, my family and I are at the Boomer Esiason High School All-Star football game, right? And Radio Disney is there, and they're having a contest. They're giving away tickets to see a Liberty game. And my kids win the tickets. The 4 of us, my wife and I, our 2 boys. And this is June 29th, 2014. We go to see the Liberty and the Connecticut Sun at Madison Square Garden. And there's a picture of me that we're looking at right now. We're about to look at. There we go. Thank you, Tony. So I'm looking up at the monitor. That is my son, Jared, all of 4 years old. It actually was a few weeks before that he turned 4 years old. And you see him clutching that basketball. They were part of a ceremony on the court where they were representing, the future of basketball, passing the torch, they called it. And the kids were given these WNBA basketballs on the court, and we couldn't believe they actually got to keep them. And they came home with the balls. Look behind Jared, and you see the empty seats at Madison Square Garden, because that's where the Liberty franchise was back then, 10 years ago, in front of, there couldn't have been more than 3,000 or 4,000 people at the game that day. You see all the empty seats, and Jared clutching that ball. At that point of his life, he wasn't a huge sports fan yet, but he really has grown into one. And he had so much fun that day, and you see the smile on his face holding onto that ball. And I just think it's a sign of where the Liberty have come to this point to be right now the best sports franchise in the market. Well, the Yankees will have a chance to equal them if they win the World Series. But congratulations to the Liberty on a wonderful year. And by the way, I brought in the ball. Here's the ball. that Jared is clutching, so I'm clutching it too. And I wanted to bring it in as part of congratulating the Liberty on an unbelievable run this year. It didn't always go in the playoffs as easy as they would have hoped. Some key players had some rough performances in the playoffs, but they figured out a way. They had a great deep bench. Head coach Sandy Brondello, the whole staff. Congratulations on the championship, and they are going to get I almost said Kings, but they're going to get a Queens, Kings, whatever you want to call it. They're getting that on Thursday, the treatment. They're getting a ticker tape parade down the Canyon of Heroes. They are going to have a big ceremony at City Hall. It all starts 10 o'clock on Thursday, by the way. And then Thursday night at Barclays Center from 7 to 10, they're going to have a rally, a celebration party, rally, whatever you want to call it. That's going on Thursday. So congratulations to the New York Liberty on winning the first WNBA championship in team history. And it's just so cool to go back and look at that picture of my son Jared holding this basketball 10 years ago. So that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash for this Tuesday. Again, this segment of Sports Bash was presented by ticketbash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. Use the code BASH10 for 10% off your order. Don't forget, this coming Thursday, Billy Kosh, the head football coach at Stony Brook, is going to join us. We also expect to hear from Jimmy O'Brien, the founder of John Boy Media, as we preview the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series. Thanks to Matt Barzell for the time yesterday at practice. Thanks to Tony Walker, just the absolute GOAT, and everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating Service. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Dr. Anthony Ippolito at Chiropractic Care Plus, by Bearcat Billing Service, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and Collaborate Studios. So for our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching today. We're back Thursday at 1 o'clock. Let's go Islanders tonight. We'll talk about the Yankees again on Thursday. Have a great day, everyone.